Hey guys, in this video we're going to be covering permanent bracing. They're the boards that we put in after we install the trusses that are called out specifically by the truss manufacturer in order to make sure that these trusses can carry snow load long term. So the reason we put in permanent bracing is because all of these trusses are 2x4s on the edge. So they're very strong on the crown direction, but they're not very strong on the bow direction. So we're going to run a board across these webs where they call for it, and that's going to lock all of the webbing together so that when the snow is pressing down on the roof, those can't move as easily. If they weren't attached together, they could bend and snap the truss on a very high snow load day. There's about 3 different kinds of permanent bracing. The first and main one is when these webs in the trusses line up with each other. So you have a bunch of webs that require permanent bracing that are all in the same plane right next to each other. So to permanent brace that, we're going to just run a 2x4 across it and nail in on layout to each truss. The next kind is when you only have one truss that's unique and it has a webbing that doesn't line up with the webs next to it. So for that, we're going to cut a board the whole length of the webbing, and we're going to run it parallel to the webbing and make an L. So we have the web and we have the 2x4 on top nailed. And that web, since we're crowning the board a different way, is going to be very strong because it's very hard to bend a 2x4 the crown direction. Now the third way is gable bracing. On really big gables, you'll have uprights that require permanent bracing, and sometimes it's 5 or as many as 7. The first way of doing that is to, same way, make an L. You run a 2x4 the length of the vertical, and you make an L there and nail it to the side. You can do this on the ground, or you can make an L out of 2x6s, just like this, and nail it to the whole gable all the way across, and then do a diagonal down to your catwalk or rat run. The reason gables have permanent bracing are because the wind is blowing against them. So you're going to get some deflection in that gable wall. So putting an L on or putting verticals on each upright is going to keep it from moving when the wind is blowing against it. Now we're going to show you the first method, which is just nailing a board, a 2x4, on a whole run of trusses that the webbing is all the same and it lines up. So to install permanent bracing, we like to install it before we sheet the roof. Sometimes we even put them in before we put the gable truss on so that we can slide these boards in. But the first thing you need to do is figure out what boards go where on what truss. So we're going to pull up the roof truss specs here on the phone, and we have all of our trusses, the engineered drawings of each truss on this roof. Now this roof isn't super complex, but I think you guys will get the picture of how to do this on your own house when you're framing. Up above me here, we have BO2. So the way we look for permanent bracing is when we zoom in, we see these little tiny boxes with an X through it. So right there, we know that on BO2, at the top of this truss, on the first diagonal web member, we have a 2x4 that nails on. Now I'll show you guys how we do that, but we just run a 2x4 down the trusses and nail it on right to that part. We also have another one here, and that looks like it for BO2. So after you got your trusses set, you can be looking through this, and you just go down from top to bottom, and you look very closely at these trusses for all those little rectangles with the X through it. Each one of those needs to be permanent braced. So if we keep scrolling down here, here we are at BO4. We got BO4 installed already. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 permanent braces on that one. So we're going to start with an easy run for you guys so you can understand what this is about. So we're going to go down to CO2 here. Here's CO2. We already have these trusses set, and we have one permanent brace on W4. So this is closest to the highest part of the truss on top of the web member. So let's go install that. So the run above me that we just looked at, CO2 and CO3, have permanent braces on that first diagonal. And we have a gable truss on each end. So something we like to do is mark out layout of our trusses on these permanent braces. Since this is a Gable truss, we're going to mark 23¼ to get our first drop. Then we have 2 foot on center from there. You have weird spacing every now and then in your trusses where they're shifted a foot or 3/4 of an inch. So we'll go ahead and mark these out. But as we're nailing this on, we know that this is our first board to start tight to that gable. We'll tie it all the way in. Then as we go down, they're just 2 foot on center. So we're actually gonna line up a couple of these, and we're gonna start on the end, and we're just gonna mark 2 foot on center. Put an X here, and this way we can mark out a bunch at once. Just like that. 2 foot on center here. Just go down the line. So these can be very tricky to get in, but you want to just aim it up right into your cavity there. You can see the webbing that we're going on top of. Okay, so we're up here, we got our 2x4 in the trusses. We're butted into the sheeting on this end. And I don't know if you can see this, but our marks line up with these trusses here. So we're gonna nail it off here. And a good practice is to nail a 2x4 onto these uprights and then nail into that 2x4. So it locks your whole house together. These are the CO2 and CO3s. They all line up. So we're just gonna run this board all the way down, nailing on our marks. This one right here is a unique spacing. It's shifted 3/4 this way. So we'll just pull that off, and then we're good to go 2 foot on center all the way down. So here we are on our splice here, and we pulled layout 2 foot on center from this end. So we're gonna just flush it up here. Continue out on our marks. These aren't like strung backs in the floor truss system. There's no need to overlap a whole cavity. We can just splice right on a truss because we're just making sure that these are less likely to bend. This could bend super easily if this board isn't here, but when we tie them all together, they're not gonna bend. So it can support a lot more snow load on the roof. So now we're just gonna keep going down here, and that's about it for this run. So right here, you can see that these webs didn't line up with these webs. So we have 2 separate boards here because they both need permanent bracing. Now, best practice is to put an angle down to either the drywall plane or up to the ceiling, the roof sheeting plane, so that these are locked in, and with that angle, they can't move side to side because the side to side is what these are supposed to prevent. So this web right here is just by itself. It doesn't line up with any other webs. So we put a T or an L, whatever you want to call it, on here. It runs from the top to the bottom of this whole web. And then we nail about 8 inches on center. That makes it super strong, and it's not going to collapse under snow load. So here we are on the Gable truss, and this is what I was talking about at the beginning. This is another way of bracing, because sometimes these uprights have a permanent brace called out for them, which even when it's on an upright or a single web, it's still just a rectangle with an X through it. So if you have a rectangle with an X through it on these uprights, you're going to put an L down here, same nailed about 8 inches to 12 inches on center. 2x4s are fine for this, and then we'll show you the other L on a gable bracing. On this particular gable, we don't have any permanent bracing called out, but this is a great example of what I was talking about. When you have a bunch of permanent bracings next to each other, like up to 7 on a tall gable, if each one of these uprights needs a brace, you can build this L out of 2x6s so that it's super strong, run it across like this, and then angle down to a catwalk. And that will brace all of them at once and keep it from the wind pushing in on this gable. If you guys are getting any value out of this video, please subscribe, because we're doing a video about every skill it takes to frame a house. Okay, so that's all the ways you can install permanent bracing. Now you just keep going through the roof truss specs, making sure not to miss any of these rectangles with an X through it. We need to make sure there's a brace on every single one of these spots. This is important. If the roof collapses 5 years down the road when they have a huge snow load or they have an issue with the roof, that's going to come back on the builder. Structural issues are our problem for the rest of the house. Another way that you can get these specs, or where to put them, is down here on the right. It says bracing. You have top cord, bottom cord, and webs. Now, top cord and bottom cord are just the roof sheeting on the roof and the drywall on the bottom of the trusses. But the webs, you can see it says 1 row at midpoint, 4 through 6. So on this truss here, we have 1 row from 4.4 over here to 0.6. You can see it right there in the middle. Sometimes you get 2 braces on 1 web, so you have to put 2 runs down if it's an extra long web. And then on gables, they can be hard to find because you have a lot of stuff going on in some of these gables. We'll see if I can find one here. Here's a gable that only has 1 upright with a brace on it, so you'd put an L there on that member. Here's another gable. You can see it has uprights in it, but there's a little brace tucked in here. That's on a web, so I'm guessing it will line up with the other webs and you can just run it out from the rest of the trusses. Okay, so just in summary, we like to do this permanent bracing before we sheet the roof. It makes it a lot easier. And we also like to pull layout on our permanent braces. The main reason we pull layout is because if you do it before roof sheeting and you nail it on without pulling layout, it can make the roof very hard to sheet because it locks the trusses in wherever they're at. Second reason we pull layout is because one time we had a customer add skylights into the roof after the whole thing was framed. So thank goodness we pulled layout on that. So it made our skylight wells nice and straight. We didn't have to undo a lot of our work on the trusses because everything was on layout and it was just a nice straight well up through the roof. So yeah, pulling layout really helps. Last thing I'll mention is that for these boards, we're using 2x4/16 or shorter, and just use bad ones. We like to use nice straight ones for plates and other things. This is the one section where you can just use super crowned, you can use bowed, all sorts of boards and just get them in there. It's a good place to use up bad lumber. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe to our channel because we're doing a video about every skill it takes to frame a quality house.